May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be acceptable unto you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Good morning, St. Luke's. Today, we pause from our regular lectionary readings to observe the Feast of All Saints. It is a significant moment where we remember the saints of our own tradition, to be sure, but also those everyday saints, the ones that we knew personally, those we love but see no longer, as our funeral liturgy says. And so we bring our mementos and photos, we put them there in the bell tower, lovingly placing them for this community to help us remember those people that we love this day, if only for a little while. I'm reminded that our memories have great power in our life. I'm certainly grateful for the ones that I carry today, and I wonder how the memories that you brought into this space this morning are shaping the way that you encounter God even now. Today's readings open with the powerful words from the prophet Isaiah, a vision of God's dream for us. On this mountain, the Lord of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wines, of rich food filled with marrow, of well-aged wine strained clear. And he will destroy on this mountain the shroud that is cast over all peoples, the sheet that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever. It's a fitting image, a powerful reminder of what God is up to in our world. And it makes perfect sense for this Louisiana boy, because where I grew up, food was a love language. And on this day, I always remember my mama, my maternal grandmother. The particular memory that always comes to my mind is the smell of the food that she was preparing for our Sunday family meal as I approached her house, walking through the yard after church. And then as soon as I would open the door, I would find her either at the stove or lovingly setting the table for us, humming along to some forgotten song, only to stop whatever she was doing immediately upon seeing us, quickly instructing us to sit down or to wash our hands for supper before the food got cold. No matter what else is happening in my life, this is a memory that always brings a smile to my face. Or as our readings say, it wipes away the tears from my face. It is a joy to share it out loud. And it's funny to me how something so simple, so small as a memory, can lift the soul. But that's not always been true. The truth is, it's taken me some time for the pain of her absence in my life to be transformed into something new. I needed something more for that to happen. I needed my community to help me hold my grief and to help me tell my story, to ask for what I needed and to accept the help of those around me. That is why I have always been struck by our reading from John that shows up today as well. It's filled with drama from the very beginning, picking up our story just as Jesus is walking into a town after delaying several days at the news of his friend's illness. And as he enters the town, he's met immediately by the guttural cry of Mary, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. If you had only been here." I suspect we all know this feeling as well. Perhaps it's a question that's running through your own soul this morning as you walk with your own memories this day, because remembering those who have been returned to God is not always easy. It's a reality that Jesus seems to understand fully, as the writers took the opportunity to point out today that Jesus, upon seeing the weeping crowd, was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved, and he began to weep. My friends, as strange as it might seem, this is the hope in our faith. It's the hope in our world, no matter how sad or frightening the circumstances of our time might be. And it is a powerful hope for us still today. Jesus wept. Or maybe another way to think about this: our God is moved by what moves us. Our God feels what we feel, and our God calls us to do work together despite that. For it was the persistence of Mary that captured the heart of God and focused the attention of her community. It was the generosity of that same community that gathered around her grief, a community that was all in, that demanded something more for the people they loved, a reminder of the power of love, doing infinitely more than we can possibly hope or imagine. And this is why we still gather as a community today, to belong to each other, so that none of us need be overcome by our losses or pain. We remember this day because what our heart feels changes the way we see the world and the way we move through it. You see, this story that we hear today has never just been about what God can do, but rather it is about what God is doing with us. For when we gather as a community, when we are all in, we have work to do. It's right there in the last words of our gospel today. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." And so today we remember. We lean on the generosity of generations before us and commit again to our own generosity. We laugh and we cry. We remember our baptism and we baptize. We commit again to our belief, our hope, our resistance of evil in this world, our call to love and serve, to seek justice and peace, and to pour out dignity in this fragile time, to be unbound in this world despite all that might cause us fear, to unbind each other, and to find peace in our time so that all might know that this is our God. This is the Lord whom we have waited. Let us be glad and rejoice in God's salvation. Amen.